Hey, and welcome to Girl, Embrace It. I am your host, Shalimar Johnson, and as always, I am so excited and grateful that you joined me on today. Well, it's me. For those who are watching Girl Embrace It TV for the first time, normally there is a guest on here with me. Well, let me not say normally. On most occasions there is a guest on here with me and I'm interviewing them. They're sharing their story of triumph. They're sharing their stories of struggles, whatever God lays on their heart to share with the people. They talk about it, all with the sole purpose of empowering women and letting women see that there is a way out of where you are, and also allowing women to see that you can be anything you want to be. Put God first, write the vision, make it plain, seek Him, hear His voice, be wonderful, be amazing, be an entrepreneur, create things, do new things, be innovative, all of those things. That's what Girl Embrace It TV is all about. But welcome, as I was saying. Well, I have some questions right here in front of me. And one of the things that I also have going for Girl Embrace It TV is a Q&A opportunity. You can either go to girlembraceit.com or girlembraceit@gmail.com and send me questions, things that you feel you need help with, answers to questions you were hoping I can give you. If you're struggling with anything in your life that you're wanting me to kind of give you some insight on, or if you've got a praise report and you're excited about what's going on in your life and you just want to get that extra push, send it to me again by way of either girlembraceit.com. Simply click the contact tab and submit your information. That way, your questions, your requests, and so forth. Or again, you can go to girlembraceit@gmail.com and send me an email with whatever questions you have. So today's show is going to be focused on two questions. I had these questions come to me and I'm going to answer them, and hopefully what I have to give will help those who sent the questions to me. There are only two questions that we're going to focus on today. The first one is, how do I get my mind right to start a business with no support? Okay. And what do I do when I can't forgive? Oh my. I'll start with the second question. What do I do when I can't forgive? Well, first of all, the last guest that we had, as a matter of fact, Joan Pandey, all the way from Nigeria, was talking about forgiveness. If you were not able to catch that show, I want you to go to YouTube and look at it. I want you to search through all of the videos that I have and you will find Joan Pandey. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, she was speaking straight to me. And when I thought I'd forgiven the way I should have, it allowed me to see things from a different perspective. And what it is that she said was, first, when you're dealing with going through this process of forgiving, you have to apologize, right? Immediately, I was like, whoa. And I didn't do this just to be dramatic. I really was like, oh, wait a minute now. I need to apologize. But what about somebody wronged me? They should be apologizing to me. But I do know and understand and believe that in everything we experience, we take part in it because it's an experience that we have had. Even if there is an argument between me and another person, let's just say, and I'm just sitting there looking at them argue, I may not be saying anything. And I think I even said this. I know I said this, as a matter of fact, on Joan's, the segment that I had with Joan. We've got to even apologize for the things we think. I may not have opened my mouth and uttered a word, but I know Shalimar Johnson, okay? And I know that I can give a look that will hurt your feelings. And I know when I'm doing it most of the time. Sometimes I'm really processing things, and I'm even talking to myself, and I'm talking to God in my mind. And I'm like, Lord, I already know that sometimes my face can tell some things that I don't want it to tell. Help me fix my face. I'm going through this process in my mind and with him when I don't want to offend anyone. But when I could care less, oh, I will cut you with my eye, or the lack of my response to what it is that you're saying. My body language, right? So we got to apologize for our part in whatever the it is that you're talking about, whatever the thing that you're trying to forgive someone for. You took part in that. The thoughts that you may have had about them. I've even had points in time in my life where people have wronged me, and my thoughts about how I was going to get them back weren't even pleasing to God. Like I shouldn't be trying to think about getting them back anyway, because the Bible tells us that vengeance is the Lord's. There is literally nothing that we can do. And I'm not preaching. Girl, embrace it. It's not about preaching, though if I had to, I would. But I believe in God. I believe in the words that are all in the Holy Bible. So I'm going to refer to him often. However, there is nothing, you hear me? There is nothing, if you're watching me, Sandy R., there is nothing that we could possibly do to an individual or individuals that have wronged us that would be will have a greater effect than that which what God will do. Let him handle that. Vengeance is not ours. It is his. And that scripture, that portion of it, just, I wouldn't say it to myself, the entire thing. I would just repeat, vengeance is the Lord's, vengeance is the Lord's, vengeance is the Lord's. Because there were times in the moment I was like, man, look, I'm sick of this. And then afterwards, I'm mad, I'm angry. That's all unforgiveness. The way that you do it again is by first apologizing. Sometimes, it may not be where you can go to the person and apologize to them. Write it in a letter. I mean, people don't even write anymore. Text it. I'm not big on texting because things can be misconstrued. What I have learned to do, though, is do like a voice text. So I will record myself saying something so that they can literally hear my heart when I send whatever it is that I'm sending. Not that I've had to send like apologies, but I may be having a conversation. I may have an idea. There may be my opinion on certain things, and I don't want to type it up and then send it and it's not understood the right way. So I would rather say it and send it through as a message through cell phone. So talk it out, record it, send it, start there. But, well, you know what? Before you even start to apologizing, you've got to pray. Let me take this back a little bit. You got to pray. You've got to ask God to forgive you for your thoughts, your part in it, the things that you're feeling. Ask him, to help you get past where you are. Then you need to sincerely, because I remember I said this when I was with Joan as well. I was like, you got to be sincere about this thing. You can't just apologize for apology's sake. It's got to be a real apology. Otherwise, the process isn't going to work. So you've got to be sincere. However, you have to be in a place in your heart and mind where sincerity will be for real. You can't just be like, I'm sincere right now. Let me say my apology because I told myself I was sincere. You've got to cry about that thing. I write things out. I write poems or whatever it is. That is a release for me. You've got to release whatever the offense was. You've got to release all of that stuff so that when you get to the point where you can now begin the the process for real of forgiving, your apology is sincere. And you've got to, after apologizing sincerely, literally for real, guys, you really need to give it to God. Lord, fix this. Work this out. I don't want to harbor ill feelings towards anyone. I don't want to think about whatever went on and be upset about it again. Help me, Lord. And it may not be that it's going to just be one time you ask him to help you. You may have to go back a week or two later. God, I need help again. I remembered this thing. I had a flashback and I was feeling some kind of way, and that way wasn't good. Lord, I'm back at you. Help me here. Forgiveness is what I seek. This is what I desire. And he's going to give it to you. But you've got to be sincere. And so I don't believe that there is such a thing as you can't forgive. And that's just going back to the question, what do I do when I can't forgive? You can forgive. It is a choice. So it's either you choose to forgive or you choose not to forgive. I say this to my children from time to time. And now I find myself saying it more often to my oldest son, just because he's almost on his way up out of here and, going on his own into college and so forth. But I say to him, there are a lot of things in life that are not that easy, but there is nothing that you can't do. I don't want to hear I can't. Yes, you can. Now, it may take you a little bit longer. Your process may not look like somebody else's process, but stop comparing yourself to someone else. Go on your journey. Go on your process. Seek what you need to seek. So again, I don't believe that there is a lot that you can't do. You may not do it as well as others. I'm not good at frying food. That doesn't mean that I can't fry. I just don't fry that well. But after time progresses, after I practice a little more, the better I get. So I may be a grade D fryer, but I'm able to fry. Do you understand where I'm going? And so, first of all, to continue answering your question, you've got to stop thinking about it from the perspective of what you can't do and start declaring what you can do. I can forgive. And I'm going to go a little bit further and say that I will. And here is my process. And you begin the process. But again, you got to let that stuff go. Let it go. Apologize sincerely. You got to pray about this thing. Seek God. Ask him to help you. And when you get to thinking about how you're going to get whomever back, cast that stuff down. Vengeance is not yours. Vengeance is not yours. Vengeance is not yours. I had to forgive my ex-husband for spitting in my face, for cheating on me while we were married, for having multiple children that are the same age as the daughter that we share, for putting his hands on me, for taking from me, embarrassing me. And the list goes on. I had to do that because one thing I understood then and I understand now is I'm responsible for me. What I do is solely on me. When the day comes, I've got to see God and answer to him. I'm answering for all that I've done or the lack thereof. I am responsible for what I do. I have to forgive, whether it seems like it's fair or not. I have to. I'm commanded to. I have to start shifting my thoughts so that I begin to feel something different. It's on me. And it's on you. So as I said, stop talking about what you can't do and start declaring what you can and will do. And the process of forgiving will not always be comfortable, but you will find yourself doing it with ease as time progresses. I don't believe that there will ever be a time where we will have to stop forgiving people. I think it's just how life goes. It's the nature of a human. We're going to do things intentionally and sometimes not intentionally that will offend someone or hurt someone. And vice versa. We will do the same to others, intentionally and not intentionally. We need to be forgiven. And we've got to forgive others. Think about when you have offended someone, done something you knew you should not have done or said, and wanted someone's forgiveness, expected someone's forgiveness, required someone's forgiveness, would have appreciated someone's forgiveness. So what I do sometimes myself within, situations, I start to think about it with the shoe being on the other foot. What if it were me? What if I needed to be forgiven for this thing, or I wanted to be, or if I were in this situation, how would I feel about it? Would I be upset if someone did not forgive me? How would that impact me? So I think about things from time to time, depending on what it is. I put myself in that position, and I think about what if it were me, and that helps me. So I hope that I helped you a little bit. Message me back and let me know if this helped you at all. I pray that it did. But like I said, I restated just for you for a moment, you have to make sure that you release the offense. Whatever it is, you've got to let it out, let it go. Cry it out, write it out, walk it out, whatever works for you. When you got to let stuff go, if you got to talk to yourself, do it. You got to pray and ask God to help you. Ask him to forgive you for your part, for your thoughts, for your actions. Ask for that forgiveness and be really sincere. We can't fool God now. We can't trick him. We can't fool him. He knows when we really are coming to him like, Lord, please help me here. Forgive me. I need you. He knows when it's real. I'm not saying that this is who you are, because I don't know. But I am saying, make sure you are sincere. Make sure that you are real when you go before him asking for anything. Apologize. If you're not ready to do it face to face, or you're just not in a place where you can, or, the situation is such a way where doing that really isn't an option, send a message by way of text. Record your voice, preferably, so they can hear your heart. If you can't send a text, send an email. You can still send a recorded, message via email. And if recording isn't an option, type it up. Go old school, mail it. There is a way to get a message across of an apology. You just have to want it. And just deal with the process. It's a process. But remember, vengeance is not yours. It is not our place, my place, your place, to get back at anyone for what they did. Yes, it's sometimes instinct, it's just because we're emotional beings and you want it. Even when I got to the point, and since I brought my ex-husband up, I'll just go there. When I got to the point where I was like, okay, vengeance is the Lord's, and I was sitting back waiting. When is the vengeance going to come? I don't see nothing happening. And my thought was that vengeance was always going to be something really bad. Like, what do I expect to be the vengeance of the Lord? Why am I sitting back, twiddling my fingers, waiting with popcorn? Like, I can't wait till this thing goes down. And, what is going to be their pain? That's another spirit in operation. Now I have gone from vengeance is the Lord's to desiring and really yearning for someone else to be hurt. So now I'm like, I got to pray about that thing, Lord, because what is that? I know that is not of you. That's not operating out of love. Regardless of what has been done to me, I still have to operate in love. It's a process. It is not easy, but it is possible. Don't say anymore, you can't forgive, you cannot forgive. Yes, you can. It is a choice. Either you're going to choose to forgive and start the process, or you're going to choose not to forgive and you won't start the process. But I admonish you to start it, because those things that we harbor in our hearts and we try to move on day to day, like everything is okay, God is examining that. We got to get rid of all that stuff. I'm going to need you to get it together and just go through the process. I have had to do it. I am still doing it from time to time. It is not like forgiveness is just this one, thing and it's over. And you may have to find yourself forgiving the same person over and over again. Sometimes for the same thing, sometimes for something else. And it's like, oh my gosh, I forgave you for this. Now I got to forgive you for that. And then I just forgave you last week. You mean to tell me this week you're going to do the same thing again? And you told me last week you weren't going to do it? Yep, you sure do. Girl, embrace it. It is what it is. It's a part of life. It's a part of growth. And as long as your focus is on pleasing God and you remind yourself of that, okay, you know what? I'm feeling some kind of way and this is real. I am not happy. I am not pleased. But God, because I live for you and I am only here to please you, I'm going to do whatever I got to do. I had to redirect my focus a lot of times. I had to tell myself, okay, Shalimar, get it together. You are doing this thing for God. I am here to please him. Because if it wasn't for God now, my responses and things would have been a lot different in a lot of situations. But I had to remind myself of why it is so important that I do what I am about to do, like forgive. I'm doing this because I got to stay connected to God. I'm doing this because I don't want to disappoint him. I'm doing this because I want to be a good representation of who he is in me. You got to shift your focus. I guess that's another point for you. Shift your focus. Make sure you remember why you're doing it. It isn't all about the individual or individuals. It's not about them at all. It is about your salvation. And it is about making sure that what you do is pleasing in God's sight, and remembering that all that I do is for you and his glory, and it will help you move through and through. Vengeance is not yours. It's the Lord's. So now let me go to this next question. How do I get my mind right to start a business with no support? Well, I guess it depends on what kind of support you're talking about. If you're talking about no monetary support, well, it isn't that easy. I'm going to just be honest. I'm going to be transparent. A lot of things that you want to do, even if it's not a business, it requires money. But if we stay on, the topic of business, there are a lot of free tools out there. You just got to search the web. Depending on the type of business that you're trying to do, look for those resources, those free resources, and then start saving. If your income is minimal, and it means that you have to save $1 here and $1 there, and eventually, 10 weeks have gone by, you can only save $1 a week, you got $10, but it costs $10 for me to print this thing out. There's your $10. You got to come up with a financial plan. Pray about it too. Now, I'm responding right away as if this business you're referring to is a business that God is giving you, but let me go back a little bit. In all thy things, acknowledge him. We got to acknowledge God in everything we do. Lord, is this of you? People use this as it sounds a little cliche, but it's really real. It might be a good idea, but it's not a God idea. So Lord, is this something you want me to do? And when do you want it to be put out there? And I laughed because I've talked about me, and I'm very transparent on this show. I made a lot of mistakes, jumping the gun and doing things before time, and it messed it all up. Timing is important, and the only way you're going to know when it's time is when you talk to him. Communicate with them. The more you communicate with him, the more you know his voice, just like with children and their parents. The more the baby cries, mom and dad recognize the cry. Oh, that's my baby crying. The more that the child communicates with mom and dad, they know mom and dad's voice, which is how you can call somebody on the phone and they are not in front of you, but you hear them and you know who you're talking to because you recognize the voice. And you only recognize the voice because you are in constant communication with them. You communicate enough to know how they sound. It's the same thing. You got to communicate with God enough so that you'll know his voice and he'll instruct you as to the when and the what. So assuming that it is a God idea, he will make the provisions. You just have to be available and open to receiving what's given to you. When I started my summer camp, I had nothing. When I tell you nothing, I woke up in the middle of the night And I was really crying the night before, and I'm like, God, this is so not where I want to be, and I don't think this is where you want me to be living my life like at all. I am for real trying to figure things out. I have no dollars saved. I'm barely paying bills. What can I do, God? And he gave me the next day. I woke up early morning and he gave it to me, and I started writing it down. I went and I found out I knew nothing about Wix. So this is an idea. I went to Wix.com. You get a free website, and there are templates to follow. I started creating my free website. That was that. Then I'm like, well, God, I don't have a building. I don't have any money to rent a space. What do I do? Went to Googling free space for events, free space for summer camps, free space for camps. And I came across community center. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I reached out to the local community center, and they were like, we would love to have you here. You only pay us if you get paid. And this is our contract, 70-30. I'm like, what? So I had to pay nothing to use the space unless I was getting paid. I had a free website for promotion, and I went to Vistaprint, had found out about Vistaprint, and they had free flyers. You could get like, I think it was 20 flyers for free or something. They had like these promotions going on, and I got 250 business cards for $5. I was able to get those $5. You know what I'm saying? Search, look, I started a business with $0. And I started to save money bit by bit until I was able to pay for the registering of my company through the state and all of that. And that's where, you know, you want to do things right. You want to do it the right way. You don't want to be janky with it. Do it the right way. But ways will be made. You just have to trust, and you have to be in position to receive what God has. You got to be ready and in position. So I'm hoping that I've answered those questions to your liking, and that I have been a blessing or a help or an assistance to those who asked the questions. And that other question about the business came from Stacy J. But I hope that I helped. And anyone that's watching, I hope that I helped you too. It's what Girl Embrace It is all about. Just having a time set aside to help one another embrace the it's in their lives. And then it can be anything. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be positive. It can be in between. It can be, I don't even know what this is, but I know it's an it, and I'm stressing and I'm struggling and I'm tackling this thing and I can't seem to get past it. I am here to help, and I'm willing, and I am able, and I am qualified to help you embrace your it. You can find me on social media at Instagram. I am Beautifully Scarred, the number 1, Beautifully Scarred 1, BeautifullyScarred 1. I am on Facebook at Girl Embrace It TV. My website is girlembraceit.com, and my email address is girlembraceit@gmail.com. If you wanted to reach me, you can reach me by way of email or my website. On the website, you are able to view all of the shows that I have had thus far. And I ask that you all stay tuned, because as I mentioned to you all before, when I was sharing my story and my testimony, I will be on Preach the Word Network Worldwide, or Preach the Word Worldwide Network, excuse me, coming soon for SatHERday's with Shalimar Johnson at 9 a.m. I will give you further details as to when that day will come, when it will begin. But you keep watching, keep following me so that you can get updates, and stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching today's show. I've embraced it, and girl, you can embrace your it too. Until next time, to God be the glory. Your scars, they're beautiful because they're your testimony. Have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye.